for the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company on 101 ESPN.
Near side now as the Montreal Canadiens put it in. Bolduc with 14 to play. Hits it into the circle. Shot deflected down. Gallagher there. Parayko trying to clear. Binnington shoveled it away. Unable to get it out. Buchnevich. Hudson with a shot at the buzzer. What a save! Binnington with 1 second to go. 2 deflected pucks down on the Blues goaltender. He said no to both. Now to Dobson. Deflected just wide. Binnington got a stick on it. 43 seconds to go in the Schenn penalty. To the near wing, slap shot on Jordan Binnington. The save on an 87-mile-an-hour slapper. Comes around to the near wing, and Thompson takes the hit from Neighbors. And a puck coming in. Kapanen, they center. What a save! Binnington did it again. Back-to-back periods with late big saves from Binnington.
I mean, the story of this game is plain and simple. Jordan Binnington made every single save possible and wiped away some massive scoring opportunities for Montreal. Welcome everyone in to our extended post-game coverage, the fourth period, on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN. Alex Ferrario with you as the Blues defeat the Montreal Canadiens 2-0, back-to-back wins in back-to-back games, as, boy, back-to-backs have historically proven problems for the Blues, and this season they have had a lot of them, with 1 game at home, 1 game on the road. And this season, the second game has been their most successful one, and the first game has been the one that they've struggled on. But tonight and yesterday, both games, the Blues had a strong performance from start to finish. Sure, Montreal had their opportunities. Sure, they outshot the Blues 25-19, but in those 25 shots, 6 of those came at the power play, as they had a 5-on-3 for a little over 90 seconds. We'll hear from Steve Ott. If you missed it, talked with him after the Blues win as our soundbite of the night. Jim Montgomery coming up in a bit with our post-game reaction, and we'll have our final look. By the way, all of it live up on our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN SDL, as we're live here at Enterprise Center, where there's another hockey game taking place as the firemen and the fire department and the police department playing in a little hockey tournament, or hockey action, I should say, for charity to benefit Backstoppers. So if you hear goal horns, that's going to be why. As the first goal is just scored in the game. And let's just take that buzzer and head right into our Ted Drew's 3 takeaways.
It's time for tonight's 3 takeaways, presented by Ted Drew's Frozen Custard, a St. Louis tradition for over 95 years. Unmatched quality, unforgettable taste.
The first star is Jordan Binnington, and I tweeted this out, and yes, it was a little snooty and sarcastic, but I think it was worth the response. Jordan Binnington deserves to be on Team Canada, and I'm not speaking to anybody in St. Louis. People in St. Louis know by now why he's headed to the Olympics to play for Team Canada, because he is a big-time goaltender. He comes up with the big saves in the biggest moments, and the team that's playing in front of him won't be the St. Louis Blues, who have had their inconsistencies this season. It's going to be some of the best, if not the best, for Team Canada in the Olympics. But tonight he just showed why. And, you know, I asked Steve Ott this question, and I framed it poorly, because it's not Jordan Binnington's struggles, it's the team struggles. Steve Ott is absolutely correct. But tonight, the team performance was better in front of Jordan Binnington. But Curbs, who was with us on pregame during the storylines, talked about it. You know, you go to that Avalanche game, sure, 4 goals were scored in the first 5 minutes. Binnington made a save on every one of those first shots from Colorado. Tonight, he stops everything. And his ability to see plays in spaces that you don't know how he sees it, with traffic in front of the net, it's just massively impressive. And the key moments that stick out to me at the end of the first period, where he makes those rebound chances off of a Suzuki tip, the end of the second period with the breakaway that Zach Bolduc had that could have made it 2-1, and then in the third period, early on, where he made another pad save off of a rebound, a desperation save by Jordan Binnington. And that's just it. I truly believe that if the Blues are to pull themselves back into this race and make themselves a playoff contender, it's going to come down to their goaltending. If the team can find some consistency, one, get healthy, two, play with a little bit more physicality and clear the front of the net, their goaltenders are going to make the saves, and their goaltenders are going to keep it a one-goal hockey game more times than not, and it's just a matter of if the Blues can live up to those expectations. And the second takeaway leads into that. Tonight, you had another superb game by your forwards. The back-checking, defensively breaking up plays. I thought Jimmy Snuggerud broke up 3 or 4 what could have been odd-man rushes just with his hockey sense and his stick. Robert Thomas tonight, again, goes up against the top line for the opposition, and with Suzuki, Caulfield, and Alex Texier, who's playing on their top line, allowed 0 points. Now, obviously, 0 points because of the goaltender, but they had a total of 12 shots on goal. And Robert Thomas, along with his line mates of Jake Neighbors and of Jordan Kyrou, and at times they're late in the third period, Otto Stenberg. You had Alexei Toropchenko getting onto it as well late in the game. All of these guys continued to eliminate the top performers on the opposition, and that's what they need. You need your best players to perform. You also got a goal from Robert Thomas tonight, shorthanded, but your best players were your best players this afternoon, and that's also an area that the Blues, as Doug Armstrong mentioned, are going to have to continue to build consistency with. And then the third takeaway is Otto Stenberg. I was talking to Jim Hewer about this during the broadcast, talking to Jordan Deacon about this as well. Curbs mentioned it in the pregame hit. I totally understand the roster management when you get healthy. And look, most times than not, these things work themselves out in terms of do other injuries pop up. But when Nick Bukestad returns, he'll be the one that is next to return. And don't know when that is. I haven't heard much about him skating. But when he returns, they will have to make a roster decision. And the easiest roster decision would be to send Otto Stenberg back down to the American Hockey League. He doesn't need waivers. He goes down, no harm, no foul. You keep your roster intact. But, man, I don't know how you seem to do that. Stenberg tonight, 13 minutes and 43 seconds, 2 takeaways, 2 shot attempts, 1 on goal, and also playing on the top line late in the third period when you're trying to hold on to that 2-goal lead. Defensively, as Jim Montgomery mentioned earlier today, he just continues to cross off boxes that we put in front of him, continues to check off pieces as to why they can trust him, and continues to just find his confidence offensively. Jim Montgomery compared him earlier this season to Jesper Bratt from the New Jersey Devils. The skill will continue to develop as he's a young player. But the fact that you were seeing a kid who is only playing in, his 9th game in the National Hockey League, and the defensive prowess he has on the ice, I don't know if it makes sense to send him back down to the American Hockey League when you're healthy because of how good Otto Stenberg seems to be on both ends of the ice. So that's my Ted Drews 3 takeaways. As always, we want to hear your Ted Drews 3 takeaways. You can text them to us, 314-399-9646. You can also send them over to us on our YouTube chat at 101 ESPN STL. But now let's get to our soundbite of the night and take you back to the conversation I had with Steve Ott following the team's 2-0 win.
The soundbite of the night is presented by Rocket Convenience Stores. Fuel your car and your daily cravings at Rocket Convenience Stores.
Steve, I think we have to first start with Jordan Binnington's play tonight. How good of a game was it for your goaltender?
He was outstanding. Sharp in the hard areas of the game, a lot of loose pucks around his net, and he made secondary saves and sometimes third opportunities as well. So, when you get a great performance like that, the guys really buckled up in front of him, and it was great.
For him too, Steve, how meaningful is a game like this for how much struggles he's gone through early on?
Well, I think it's team struggles. Jordan Binnington's the ultimate competitor. We know that. There's a reason why Canada picked him as well. He's a top echelon goalie in this league, and we have to play like that in front of it as well. And it was great team effort. There was a lot of events in the game. you talk about the penalty kill, you can talk about the shorthanded goal, but you know what? Throughout the 60 minutes, it's a gutsy back-to-back win.
Steve, from the moment the puck dropped, it felt like it was just a commitment to the D-zone coverage. Did you feel that as well?
I sure did. You know what? I thought our sticks were outstanding tonight. You know, the D were tight, closed a lot of gaps out, and when you do that, it makes it hard on the opposition. And for the most part of the whole night, I thought we did an extremely good job of it.
Steve, congrats on the win. Have a safe trip to Chicago.
Will do. Thanks so much.
There you go. Again, Steve Ott, the associate coach, with us after a 2-0 win against Montreal. That's our soundbite of the night. We'll come back and hear from Jim Montgomery and close it down here on our extended postgame coverage, the fourth period here on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN.
Welcome back to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company on 101 ESPN.
Welcome back inside Enterprise Center. Alex Ferrario with you on our extended postgame coverage, the fourth period. You hear that goal call because the Police just went up 2-0 on the charity game. I'm giving live play-by-play action here on our extended postgame coverage, the fourth period. A 2-0 final score as the Blues take down the Montreal Canadiens. As Curbs mentioned on the broadcast, the big one tonight, Predators and Flames, mostly because the winner of that team will put themselves in a tie with St. Louis in terms of points with 42. So both teams will be 1 point out of that wild card spot. You know, it really is crazy with the Western Conference. I know we're sounding like a broken record because we say it so much, but even the Blackhawks, who sit in the 7th place spot in the Central Division, are only 6 points out of a wild card spot. I mean, the furthest team out are the Winnipeg Jets, and they're 9 points out of a wild card spot. They've really taken a significant fall off as they've lost 3 in a row and only 1 win in their last 10. The difference really is the amount of games played. Now, the Blues will be off for 3 before they play on Wednesday, and like Joe mentioned a couple of games ago, January is really where you're going to see the games played for every team even themselves out. But, you know, the Kraken have played 4 fewer games than the Blues. The Sharks have played 3 fewer games than with the Blues. The Flames and the Predators have played 2 fewer games than the Blues. So a lot of games have been played by St. Louis, which doesn't bode well for where they're at in the standings, but you inch yourself closer to it and hope everything else kind of takes care of themselves. And for the Blues, they did their job, got to 42 points, and got to one game below 500. And Doug Armstrong spoke yesterday about the lack of consistency. The Blues will have a chance to showcase it with plenty of rest, 3 days off, and then their chance to get back to 500 for the first time since late October. Let's hear from Jim Montgomery and get his reaction after the Blues victory.
It's time to hear from the head coach, Jim Montgomery, presented by Fisher Window and Door Store, offering quality American-made Marvin windows and doors. Visit their showrooms in Brentwood or East Alton, Illinois.
How well Binner battled for us and how well we battled for him in the crease. I thought that our urgency of clearing the crease. There was a lot of scrambles, but, we managed the chaos really well. And I thought our puck support tonight was really good, like coming out of our D zone, on entries into the offensive zone. And I think it allowed us to have a lot of opportunities, especially in the first two periods.
Yeah, the 5-on-3, obviously, Bennington's huge during that. Were there other things you liked from you guys during that 5-on-3?
Yeah, I thought our sticks were excellent. I thought we protected against seams. I only remember one seam, and it was a really good one-touch by Demidov. And that's going to happen. It's a 5-on-3. But they didn't one time off it, so we could get back in our triangle. And, again, we gave them the outside. And then the best defensive stick was Binner's, and that cross-crease pass that he deflected over the glass. I mean, it's just a high-end brain by him.
I mean, you talk about it during the 5-on-3, but just throughout the game, were you able to kill a lot of their plays, especially when you're trying to move it?
Yeah, a fair amount. I thought in the neutral zone we were really good with it. I thought our angling we were over top of speed, which allowed us to break out quite quickly, especially in the first. We had a lot of odd man rushes, and again, if we continue to get those odd man rushes, hopefully we're going to start burying those opportunities.
Can you describe just the importance of Binnington getting a shutout, getting a nice day at the office after the previous start?
Well, I think it's really important, not so much for Binner, because Binner's self-belief is unbelievable, but I think it's really important for people in the NHL to see that, how good he is, and nothing has changed. Like, it's been us in front of him, not him, that has allowed for the numbers that go under him. But for me, his goaltending has been really solid all year. I'm sure every year there's a couple of games you want to have back. But, I mean, if I have to worry about Binnington, I don't have anything to worry about.
The high-end play by Thomas that leads to the short-handed goal, everything that he did leading up to it.
Yeah, I thought that was one of, if not Robert Thomas's best games of the year. Just the way he dug in. I mean, last night he played 20 minutes. Tonight he played 22 minutes. He kills the 3-on-5. He gets the shorthanded goal after that, and a great play with him and Torpo. And then he's going against their top line all night long in Suzuki, and we ended up on top of that.
It's time to take a look back at tonight's game with the final look.
Driven by Pure Performance. Only stop for all your aftermarket vehicle needs.
I think what Jim Montgomery said there at the beginning is the most important thing to take away, and it's where we wrap up our post-game show with Jordan Binnington. It was important, not for St. Louis, but for the National Hockey League. And I don't know if that's going to matter. I've already seen a couple of comments saying, yeah, but he didn't deserve to be on Team Canada for how he performed this season. That is so far from the truth. The reason he's on Team Canada is because of how he has performed in his career, and especially how he has performed for Team Canada in the past. And it's not just off of, being a Canadian goaltender. He played in the Four Nations. He's played in the World Championships the last couple of seasons and helped Team Canada. This is the ultimate professional. It's the ultimate gamer. And as a unit that is trying to go out there and win gold, you want that goaltender in between the pipes. And, I loved watching Nick Suzuki tap his pad at the end of the or towards the end of the third period when he made just an unreal save on what should have been a goal on Suzuki. That's a former countryman who is understanding and appreciating what Jordan Binnington provides. And the hope for the Blues is that they gain confidence from this game and see that when you play that sound defensively, when you play that responsible in your own end, where your sticks are in the right area, when you're going after those second efforts and making sure that you're clearing away the scoring opportunities, or at least the high danger opportunities from Montreal or from whomever they're playing. That's where you just let your goaltender go to work. And both goaltenders, it doesn't matter who starts, both goaltenders have the ability to rob a game, but every single night are very capable of keeping it a one-goal game. And the Blues in front of them just have to do the rest. And so they get two. Consistency is the key word, and they got a great opportunity in front of them. Now, I don't know if Connor Bedard will be back in the game on Wednesday as he's been getting healthier, but the Blues take on a struggling Chicago Blackhawks team on Wednesday. And, boy, you want to talk about making up ground next week. 3 games on the road, 3 games against the Western Conference, 2 games against the Central Division. They take on Chicago Wednesday, Utah on Friday, and Vegas on Saturday. We'll have all of the coverage for you right here on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN as that game gets started on Wednesday at 8:30, probably like 8:45, as it'll be a national game. So we've got Chris Kerber and Joe Vitale on a Soul Radio broadcast Wednesday from Chicago. We'll start the pregame at 7:30 here on 101 ESPN. A huge shout out once again to our on-site engineer Jim Hewer and our phenomenal producer Jordan Deacon back in our network studios. I'm Alex Ferrari. I hope everyone has a great rest of their evening, great rest of your weekend. We'll talk Wednesday for Blues and Blackhawks right here on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN.
Thanks for listening to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company.